Tennessee, Arkansas. Bobby Petrino, Josh Heupel. Here's how the Vols are going to win.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Happy Friday morning and welcome into Locked On Vols, your number one spot for Tennessee football news and entertainment. Weekday mornings when you wake up, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Everydayers, could not do the show without you. Thanks so much for being here. If you're new to the show, pull up a chair, give us a chance. This is the Tennessee Volunteers show for you weekday mornings, again, completely free. And today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later in the show for this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, where you can move and be moved. I am your host, Eric Cain, a member of the VolQuest.com team here in town. And we're going to go through today's show, giving you the keys to victory for Tennessee against Arkansas, what Tennessee must accomplish to come out on top against Arkansas ahead of the third Saturday in October, next Saturday, right here on Locked On Vols. And of course, as we do each and every Friday morning during football seasons, segments 2 and 3, Boogie Bentley of the Talkin' Vols Network. All right, so how does Tennessee get this win? A lot of this is elementary. A lot of this is simplistic. We do this every single week. But for a defense that is just horrendous in terms of stopping the run, last in the SEC in a number of categories, but this one, stopping the run, last in the SEC. Tennessee has got to run the football from a traditional sense much better than what it did against Georgia and much better than what it did against Mississippi State. There is no reason not to have a field day on the ground, no pun intended. Tennessee needs to have a big day on the ground. Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis, or Star Thomas, Peyton Lewis if he gets opportunities. Tennessee needs to dominate the traditional ground game. There's no excuse to not do that in a game like this, given your opponent. Number 2, start fast. Tennessee's been an exceptionally fast starting football team this year, both offensively and defensively. Even think about the defense, right? You gave up a touchdown to Georgia. You gave up a touchdown on a pump in the first quarter. You gave up a touchdown on a muff punt on a short field in Mississippi State on the road last week. Tennessee started off really well defensively as well. In a game where you have two offenses that are expected to score a lot of points, two quarterbacks that are going back and forth, needing to not fall behind is paramount. And I think for Arkansas, if you fall behind by 10 points, it's going to be tough. I mean, you can certainly score, but I don't think Tennessee is going to stop scoring as well. So can Tennessee, if it falls behind, play catch up? Sure. Because I've got a heck of a lot more faith in Tennessee's defense than I do Arkansas's defense. Because Tennessee's defense has a track record of stealing a couple possessions a game, getting some takeaways, forcing turnovers, where Arkansas's defense, in pretty good TFL numbers, but that's about it. 11 sacks is it. Not making a whole lot of plays. So I have more confidence in Tennessee's regard to kind of battle back and come from behind, if you will. But you just hope you're not in that situation. Put the pressure on Arkansas from the get-go. Offensively, if you win the toss, Josh Heupel usually kicks the football and takes the ball to begin the second half. Following the Georgia loss, he took the football and went down there and scored. I would take the football and go down there and score and set the tone immediately in this football game. Speaking of that, another key for me is tempo. We've talked all week long about what we think Arkansas can do defensively. I would start with what Arkansas did defensively against Nico and Tennessee last year, and that was odd front, three safety high. Different quarterback, different playmakers, right? And I was speaking with Jared Garantano for an interview that's going to come out on GameQuest, later this afternoon, and over a VolQuest, and he pointed out to me, and he's right. I went back and I checked my notes on specific drives, and he's exactly right. I did have a note on that actually. Tennessee did see a 3-high safety look for a couple of plays against the Georgia Bulldogs. So it won't be completely brand new, but it's still not like Tennessee's seen a lot of that this year. It gave Tennessee issues last year. It's given Tennessee issues in the past in some of these SEC matchups. That's where I would start if I'm Arkansas. But regardless, Tennessee needs to hit him with that tempo, because new personnel on the coaching staff on the defensive side of the football, it's the same personnel on the field. Are they going to be simplistic? Are they changing a lot of stuff? I would assume they're going to be same verbiage, trying to simplify some things at the most and be very, very aggressive if you can do all those at the same time. Doesn't matter. Hit them with tempo, hit them with tempo, hit them with tempo, because everybody is on an equal playing field whenever they're going up against Tennessee's tempo. It is very, very difficult. Obviously, this goes without saying. Defensively, contain, contain, contain. It's so simple. That's football 101, and people are getting aggravated with me saying that so much this year, but that is the biggest difference, and that is the biggest issue with Tennessee's rush defense right now. It is contain, contain, contain. How do you lose contain? You don't set the edge. What does setting the edge mean? In man on line of scrimmage and or linebacker coming down and or cornerback coming up from his perimeter spot. Setting the edge, forcing everything back inside, meaning you are setting the edge. Nobody's getting outside your outside shoulder. Forcing it back inside to where you have help is. That's got to be better, especially with a quarterback in Taylen Green. And then that brings me to another key that I have, and that would be to shadow him. That would be to spy him. Mix some things up. Covers, you can run a spy and cover one all day, every day, right? Can't be cover zero because that spy would be blitzing as well, usually. But cover one spy, it can be a safety, it can be a star player, it can be a linebacker. I would have more confidence if it was a safety spying than a linebacker. But the safety's got to come up and make tackles, right? Got to come up and make tackles. A star player, maybe Boo Carter at points in time. You got to mix it up as well. I think this has a excellent opportunity for Tennessee to, have a ton of fireworks, look good in front of the home fans again, and kind of get back to playing its brand of football after the bye week, and certainly after being away from Neyland Stadium for, going on 3 weeks right now. So I expect Tennessee to win this game. We'll get into an official score prediction later in the show with Boogie Bentley. I'm looking forward to this football game, but this is a game to where, and I don't think Tennessee is, certainly, especially since there was a bye week last week, not overlooking this opponent. Because you saw what happened last year if you're looking ahead, right? Tennessee on the road, stubbed its toe and had a horrible loss to Arkansas. That cannot and that will not happen Saturday at Neyland Stadium. All right, when we come back, we'll get into my conversation with Boogie Bentley, his thoughts on the Hogs, Bobby Petrino, and so much more. All that's coming up as we continue on here. This is your Friday morning Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered the most. Let's break it down. Well, Tennessee was on a bye week last week, but it is expected, and he was on the injury report earlier this week. David Hobbs, junior defensive tackle, former 5-star, is going to make his season debut, giving Tennessee great depth in the interior defensive line. Got Jackson Moy back for the Mississippi State game. Now you're getting Hobbs back. That's 2 of your top 3 defensive tackles to begin the season. Injured. Partially, that's the reason why Tennessee's rush defense hadn't been as great, probably. So getting David Hobbs back was awesome this past weekend over the bye week, and I'm excited to see what he can do out there on the field. And just like David Hobbs delivered, hopes to deliver for Tennessee this Saturday, DoorDash delivers for your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, you could save up to $250, including $100 DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply, promo period through November the 18th. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using the FanDuel Sportsbook app because there's so many ways to get in on the action. I built parlays. I've tried player props. I've even followed live games late in these Major League Baseball playoff games. I did it in the NBA season, college basketball season, of course, in the second half of college football games as well, and on Sunday afternoons whenever I'm trying to keep up with my fantasy football team. New customers, again, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. That is FanDuel.com, where you can make every moment more. Boogie, it feels like it's been forever since Tennessee's got out there and played a football game. 2 weeks essentially since the last football game. Haven't been at home at Neyland Stadium in 3 weeks. How good's it going to feel to see Tennessee back out there on the field? And you and I say this all the time, man. You're only guaranteed 12 of these Saturdays a year, and already by the end of Saturday night, you're halfway done, right?
Oh, it's hard to believe. You got to soak it in. You got to drink it in. You got to enjoy the ride. And look, we're almost halfway through it, and we're sitting right where most people thought we would be. I think most people, when you look at the schedule preseason, you say, yeah, we're going to lose to Georgia. I don't think you lost as bad as you thought you were going to lose. You were right in that game. Should have won that game. You could argue Tennessee should be sitting here at 5-0 right now, but the bottom line is you're kind of sitting where you thought you were going to be sitting. The back half of this thing is a little bit more difficult, going on the road to Alabama, Oklahoma coming to Neyland Stadium. But, yeah, soak it in, drink it in. It's always fun. Had somebody on our Wednesday night show put in the chat saying it was their first game ever. What should we do? Where should we go? You guys watching Locked On Vols on a Friday morning, jump in that comment section. What are your suggestions for game day? I say you got to always be there to see them, the Vol walk. If you've never seen it, if you've never been a part of it, you got to be there for that, and you got to be in your seat when they run through the tee. And then there's so many things, tailgates and seeing the Vol Navy and Volunteer Village, all that type of stuff. But you guys jump in the comment section, and you tell me what you do on game day. But yeah, we're ready to kick it off, get back to playing football, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, somebody, listens to the show religiously, and I appreciate him. He's from Ireland, and he's coming in for the game this weekend. He's like, what all do I need to do? And I'm like, well, I mean, honestly, I'm probably not the best person to ask because I've been doing the whole media thing for the last 7-8 seasons. I mean, it's been a minute since I've gone and experienced a game as a fan and, like, done everything. But, I, like you said, especially when I was little, my father always got me there to see the Vol walk. I mean, that was just so cool, right? So, again, if you've never seen the Vol walk, go check it out. Make sure you're in your seat for the parting of the tee there. I like to see the band march. But, before I got into the media realm and I was kind of a young adult, I was just going to the tailgate drinking beer and watching football. I mean, that was pretty anticlimactic, but that was fun for me. So I might not be the best person to ask, but no matter what, the vibes are always so high when you're on campus doing that stuff.
Yeah, find a tailgate, man. Like, if you don't have stuff with you, find a tailgate, walk up, introduce yourself. I promise you, you will get food, you will get beverage, and you will have a good time. That's kind of where I am. But I always say, like, when I go to, and I don't get to go to games either since doing this YouTube thing. The difference is I work for myself. So if I want to skip a week and go down and watch a homecoming game, a smaller game, I can. But once you've seen the Vol walk, you kind of seen it and taking it in, spend more time at the tailgate. But if it's your first game, you gotta take it in. You got to see the Vol walk.
Yeah, no doubt. Arkansas. Let me phrase it. Does Arkansas scare you?
Taylen Green scares me. Does the rest of Arkansas scare me? No, but I think he can single-handedly take over a football game. And you kind of talked about it on my show Monday. When you sit down and you look at numbers and you look at stats, which is always a good place to start going into a game week, it almost feels like looking in a mirror. The difference is I think Tennessee's getting healthy. Having Jackson Moy back last week, we saw what that did for the rotation on that defensive line. We saw what that did for Don Bailey. We saw what that did for Bryson Eason. And now you're looking to get David Hobbs back this week. I think that's huge for Tennessee. I think they can take a step forward defensively. I hope they can take a step forward defensively. And even really, they've not been as bad as some people think. But I think they can get better on defense, whereas Arkansas is what it is. The most interesting thing to me about this game is not necessarily between the white lines. It's what happened with Sam Pittman. It's what happened with Petrino firing his defensive staff. And we kind of question how does the defense respond to that? And it's not like you said this Monday too. It's not like they're overhauling the defense. It's not like they're putting in a new scheme. And you also got to look, 2 of the 3 guys were promoted from within. So they were already in this system. How do the players respond to that? Were the players Sam Pittman guys? Were the players the defensive line coach? Were the players more about their coaches that were let go? Because when adversity hits, and guess what? It's going to hit on Saturday. Tennessee inside Neyland Stadium, Josh Heupel's pretty dang good in Neyland Stadium. When adversity hits, how does Arkansas respond? I think that's a big factor this game.
Yeah, again, I've said this all week. I think it'll go – really, I've said this for 2 weeks. I think it'll go one of two ways in terms of what you're going to get from Arkansas. Like, they're just going to quit. It's going to be a bludgeoning. Or, boy, it's going to be tooth and nail, trading blow for blow until the fourth quarter. Then I think Tennessee's going to win this game by a touchdown or 2. I'm picking Tennessee to win this game by 2 scores because I don't think Arkansas's defense can stop Tennessee maybe a couple of times in this football game. I think Tennessee can get points. Unless Tennessee stops themselves, I think Tennessee can get points on the majority of drives. But then again, this is an SEC football game, right? And I mean, they're on scholarship too. So you say all this to say, like, there's still talent over there. Like, don't get me wrong. And the key difference, and I'm going to stop saying this because I've said it a million times, the key difference between the two defenses, yeah, you said it. I mean, Tennessee's defense is still making plays. Like, statistically, it doesn't look good. But they're still going out there and giving your offense at least 2 possessions a game, right? They're sacking the quarterback. They're scoring touchdowns defensively. I think there's a big difference in the two defense, although if you're just looking at it from afar, the college game day sets, national shows, like, two of the worst defenses in the league. Well, not really. Plus, again, I'm going to get off this. I continue to say it, scoring defense it's just such a misleading stat. It's so misleading. Tennessee's scoring defense is horrible. It needs to be better, but it is certainly not that bad when you look at what Mississippi State did. Look at ETSU scoring from first and goal at the 4 on a turnover, stuff like that. So, I think Tennessee is going to go. I think Tennessee can take control of this game late, or I think Tennessee is just going to put them in submission from the first quarter with these guys not responding. It's kind of interesting. I talked to some people covering Arkansas, and 2 people this week told me in that Notre Dame game they just quit, which I was like, man, how do you kind of just quit, right? And the final score indicates that. Are you going to get that same type of effort and energy at Neyland Stadium when the first bit of adversity hits Arkansas? Are you going to bow down to the crowd and just kind of say, let's just get out of here? I don't know. I'm intrigued to see how Arkansas responds to all this. Probably going to get the latter, rally around Bobby Petrino and stuff. They're still playing for money, transfer portal, dignity, all that type of stuff. I have a hard time just thinking teams are going to quit. So I bet Tennessee's going to get Arkansas's best shot.
Yeah, what's interesting is to look at Arkansas, and they went toe-to-toe on the road with Ole Miss. They lost to Memphis by a point, 32-31. They could be sitting here right now with the same record as Tennessee. They could be sitting here at 4-1. So, yeah, again, it goes back for me. How do they respond? How do they rally around Petrino? And I even said, let me ask you this. What do you think would have been better? Because going into it, as they were, is Sam Pittman going to get fired? I was saying, I hope he doesn't get fired, because if they did roll over and play dead, maybe that tells me, maybe that indicates to me, most of these players were sick of Sam Pittman and ready to move on from Sam Pittman. And now this kind of lights a fire under you and gives you a little rally to go play football together. What happened to Tennessee when Nico went to the portal? I mean, we're as fans, we're sitting around scratching our heads saying, who's next? Is Boo Carter leaving? Is Mike Matthews leaving? Are all the skill players leaving? Are we going to be sitting here without a roster going into fall camp? What did they do? Miles Kitselman came in. He was that leader. They rallied together. And I think this Tennessee football team has a camaraderie, has a chemistry unlike anything we've seen since Josh Heupel arrived. And I know we preach culture and all that type of stuff, and it's all buzzwords and cliches, but I think that Josh Heupel has truly built that. And I think because of that foundation, when Nico left, it brought them closer together. So I ask you, would you have rather Sam Pittman still be here for this game, or him have bounced and now it's like, well, how do they respond to Petrino?
Yeah, I would rather Sam Pittman still be the head coach of Arkansas coming to Neyland, because again, you've seen what Arkansas is the past couple of years. Capable of winning some games. What year was it? Was it 22? Maybe it was 21, where they started like 5-0 and they looked really, really good. I mean, they weren't playing many people, and then they played Texas and got beat. I don't know when it was, but like there's been some nice little wins, along the way, but ultimately very mediocre. A couple of losing seasons. Beat Tennessee last year, which probably saved his job for the rest of the year, gave him another shot. But we've seen what Arkansas has been under Sam Pittman for the last couple of years. So, yeah, I would have rather, as a Tennessee fan, I would have rather had Sam Pittman come to Neyland coaching Arkansas than having him fired. The opportunity for a new voice, a new inspiration. You don't want to give Taylen Green and that offense any more lightning fuel, I guess, because they're already pretty good. And I want to ask you how Tennessee's defense is going to stop that when we come back right here on a Locked On Talking Vols Friday morning with Boogie Bentley. This episode is brought to you in part by Mazda's moving the game forward for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. We're going to dial it back to the Mississippi State game again because Tennessee didn't play last week. And let's go to that drive late in the fourth quarter when Tennessee marched down the field, tied the football game at 34-all. It was a 4th and 2 early in the drive, and Aguilar delivers a ball that's behind Chris Brazzell. He reaches behind his body, bobbles it a little bit, brings it down, moves the chains. What a reception by Chris Brazzell. That was fantastic, and it was incredible, man. His season just continues to hum right along. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, where you can move and you can be moved. Taylen Green, one of the better quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference. I'm not going to say he's the best, but he's obviously top 4 in my opinion for sure. He's second in the he's second in the SEC in rushing yards gained. You put into sacks into account, which is not always on him, more on the offensive line. He's still fourth in the conference in rushing, completing 62% of his passes. He's fourth in passing yards. He's up there in touchdowns. I mean, dude's a player, right? This offense, for the most part, has not really been an issue. It's the defense that's been the issue. Now, second half football games have not been very good. The Notre Dame football game was horrible for Arkansas. But how is Tennessee's defense going to go about trying to slow down Taylen Green and that Arkansas offense? Defensive coordinator, put on the headset. Coach Jay, move aside. All right, it's Coach Boogie. Tell me how it's done.
I'm going mid-zero blitz. I'm blitzing everybody every down like it's NCAA on a Tuesday night. That's what I'm doing. I don't know. That's why I'm so I hate this. It's like I look at this game two different ways. I look at the spread. I look at it's in Neyland. I look at this Tennessee offense. I'm like, Vols by 50. And then I look at Arkansas. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know how you stop Taylen Green. I think you've got to spy him. I think that's key. And then I think this defensive line is getting Jackson Moy back, is getting David Hobbs back, being able to shift Don Bailey back to his natural position at strong side defensive end. Does that help you kind of contain? What's Tennessee's biggest problem? Well, you could probably name a couple on defense. Number one is miscommunication on the back end. That's been a problem. But tackling in open space has been a problem. So what happens when Taylen Green gets out in open space and is making guys miss? That is a concern. And I've looked at this game all week long, and I try to get away from it, and I keep going back to, is this thing just going to end in a shootout? I think you spend all of your time focusing on Taylen Green and let the chips fall where they may. Their wide receivers don't scare me. Their running backs don't scare me. Nothing about them scares me outside of Taylen Green. So what's the answer to that? I don't know. I'm not an X's and O's guy, but I think you have to assign someone, whether that be Arian Carter. But does Arian Carter have the speed to sit there and spy Taylen Green and be able to shut him down? I don't know if he does or not. He's leading the conference in tackles, but tackles, stats, numbers, that can be deceiving. I don't have an answer. That's why Tim Banks gets paid what he gets paid, is to come up with that answer. But I think you got to spy Taylen Green, shut down Taylen. It's the cliche, basic, generic answers, right? You got to stay in your pass rushing lane. Don't let him get outside. Contain. You want to know what Coach Jay says? Every time I'm like, what do you think about this defense? He just screams about contain and stop letting guys get outside. You let Taylen Green get outside, and will Petrino do that? Will he roll the pocket and get him outside and let him create plays? That's the number one question. How do you know how to stop Taylen Green, Mr. Linebacker?
No, I mean, I was just thinking back when you're talking about Arian Carter leading the SEC in tackles, but how tackles can be misleading. And you're right. Like, I've made mention of Arian Carter in that stat, and I'm like, I mean, that's awesome, that's impressive. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I mean, is that really even a stat like worth bragging about right now? And then I'm like, hold your roll there, Eric Cain. Linebacker at Jefferson County, linebacker at Carson Newman. I feel like I was very, very in my mind, not outwardly, boastful about 10 tackles per game, leading the old IMAC conference in tackles, leading Carson Newman in tackles in 2014. Like, I took so much pride in that, but if we go back and watch the tape, how many of those tackles are 5-6 yards down the field? I don't know, right?
At least you're not a free safety or a corner leading the team or the conference in tackles, right? At least it's a linebacker.
True, yes, yeah, true. But to your point about a spy, and full disclosure, I record with Jerry Garantano for the Game Quest podcast. I don't know if you listen to that over at VolQuest, but he's got some really good insight on, as a quarterback, what gives you challenges spy-wise. Like, which you got to mix up the spy. Which one gives you the most challenges, the difficulties in going to a game where you don't really know what to expect in terms of what Arkansas is going to be. Garantano gave us some really good inside-the-helmet type info on how to deal with all that. So I think, I would spy him as well. Can't live in it. Got to mix it up. Same things you said, man. You got to contain. I know that's just so simplistic and people get so tired of us saying that, but it is what it is, man. Like, you've got to contain. If you lose contain, it's going to be a long day. Tennessee's not tackled well on the perimeter whatsoever all year long. If I'm Bobby Petrino, man, I'm utilizing that, right? But I will give Tennessee's defense credit, and Grant Ramey had to remind me of this like 2 times this week. You had Arkansas that scored 19 points last year. Taylen Green, he made some great throws, but overall, Tennessee held him in check very much. He had -9 yards rushing, only 2 sacks. Bobby Petrino is the offensive coordinator in 2023 with Jimbo at Texas A&M. They scored 13 points. I mean, Tennessee's performed well under Bobby Petrino in those matchups. Can that carry on onto Saturday? I hope so, but I'm like you, man. I honestly think it's going to be tons of points, but in the second half, Tennessee, gains a possession or two, gets a takeaway. Tennessee wins by 2 scores, but I do think it's going to be back and forth, or tick for tack. I score a touchdown, you score a touchdown there for the first couple quarters at least.
Yeah, I think the difference is when I look at the game and I think Tennessee's defense can take a step and get better. And that's what you talking about, the numbers and the stats and the scoring defense and all that type of stuff. There was a great post on VolQuest, and I'm not going to run through all of it, but when you take away the drives that started in plus territory, when you take away the touchdowns scored in mop-up duty, when you're up 18 or more in the second half, all of a sudden Tennessee scoring defense is top 10. And people get mad when I say that. They're like, oh, well, yeah, if you erased all of the points, they would be number 1. No, but still, that's worth mentioning. That's worth bringing up. I'm encouraged by that. So I think Tennessee's defense can be better. Do they have things to clean up? Of course they do. On the flip side, I don't think Arkansas's defense, I think they are what they are. Yeah, and if you told me if I've got to bet the life savings on it, I think Tennessee's offense can, if they have to score every drive, can score every drive. Can Arkansas's defense or offense score every drive? No, I don't think so. I think Tennessee's offense is the difference in this game because there's so many ways they can beat you. I heard you guys talking about on the by the way, the show where you guys have on the suits and jackets. I never remember. I always get it confused with the Rocky Top Rewind. The round table, is that what?
Yes.
And by the way, can you please let your Mississippi State guests know that this isn't the round table and you don't have to show up with a suit and tie? Poor guy comes on the rewind, confused all to get out. But anyway.
Hubs and I are in like sweatshirts.
Yeah. I'm like, what is happening? This poor guy comes in, he's got his jacket on. See, now I got so excited I completely forgot where I was going with that thing. But the
something on the you saw we said something on the round table you're going to get at.
Yeah, and now I completely forgot what it was. But it was way more important to get that joke in about the jacket and the tie.
It was priorities, yes.
Yeah, I have no idea what I was going to say about the round table.
Give me if you had maybe you're going to save it for your show because you guys are live this morning as well at 10 a.m. and that's fine. But how do you see this game playing out? Tennessee winning, I would assume. Covering, not covering, nail biter, over, under. What's your feel here?
I think, again, just going back to the top of the show, what I said about things that happen outside the lines, I think that is a huge impact on this game. You mentioned Arkansas quitting against Notre Dame, and I get it. That's before Sam Pittman. It's easy to say we're going to rally together. We're going to do this together. Hoorah, go team, until adversity hits.
Yep.
Neyland Stadium, Josh Heupel, you've only lost to Georgia in over 3 years. The environment, Tennessee always brings it. They're going to bring it. How does Arkansas respond to that? I think that's a big difference maker in this. And then I think when adversity does hit, how does Arkansas respond? I don't think they can stop this Tennessee offense. And I love what Hub said on the Rocky Top round table, by the way, but this isn't what I was going to say. When he said, bring that tempo, man, right? Bring that tempo, go quick. You're talking about they're not going to overhaul the whole defense, but it is new. It is different. They want to approach it differently. Are they extremely conservative? That's Coach Jay's narrative. He thinks they're going to be very basic, very simple. Josh Heupel's going to attack that. If so, bring that tempo, go quick, give them an opportunity to make a mistake. And then when they're down 14-0, they're down 21-0, do they fold and quit? I think that's what happens in this game. I think Tennessee's defense grows. I think they take a step. I don't think we can harp on Jackson Moy being out and David Hobbs being out and then just act like it's not a big deal when they come back.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee wins it 45-27. The defense takes a step, still gives up some points. People still going to be questioning Tim Banks, but Tennessee gets it done. And then we got to pack up and get ready for Alabama. That's going to be a big one. Absolute big one.
On yesterday's show, I referenced the third Saturday in October a couple of times, but it was never like overlooking this game, but it was still like, it was almost like this game and then this game. And in my mind, I'm like, whoa, buddy. It's like, because opposing fan bases made the comment to me like, oh, you guys are overlooking Arkansas because you got the third Saturday in October coming up. I'm like, whoa. Tennessee lost this game last year. I don't think Tennessee's overlooking anybody, right? Like, Tennessee's won a bit of revenge, and Josh Heupel, if given the opportunity, he is going to run that score up because he's mad and he's pissed about last year, and he's not mad at Arkansas. He's mad at himself because you lost that game, and so that's his way of dealing. That's his therapy, right? Like, that's the way he deals with things. So if given the opportunity, he is going to run up that score and try to get as much style points as possible. So I like that too. I like Tennessee by 2 scores. I think I don't know. I don't honestly have a score, man. Like, give me the over, not by much, but give me 48, 45. I think is a good number to. Maybe this is the under actually. 45-24. No, that's the over. Yeah, 45-24. I think it's a 68.5 right now over there at FanDuel. Give me 45-24, 40, maybe 45-28. I do think if there's going to be some points, but I think as you go along, Tennessee's just too good. Tennessee will continue to score. And like we said earlier in the show, like Tennessee's defense makes plays. They will make some plays in this football game. Takeaways, force fumble, whatever it is, because that's been Tennessee's MO defensively. Give up a lot, but also go get the football a couple of times, and that's going to happen in this game. Rob, before I let you go, man, I do want to ask you, I don't have the list in front of me, but they did one transfer portal window. It's going to be from January 2nd to the 15th, I believe. Your thoughts on that? And then secondly, I thought it was interesting to where if your coach is fired, starting now, you can't just immediately enter the portal. You have to wait until a coach is hired and then decide if you want to enter the portal. I hate that aspect of it. I feel like if your coach is fired, get in the portal, man. That's not your problem. Go. Do your thing. But overall, I'm thrilled that there's just one window, and I'm thrilled that it's in January. We talk all the time like December's too loaded. December is forcing good coaches in the NFL because December's so hard. Moving National Signing Day up to the first of the month and then moving this to January, I think is going to help alleviate a lot of that.
Yeah, I think it's the best case scenario. Like so many people, it's too early, right? If you're in the college football playoff, you're playing for a national championship. You don't need to be dealing with the transfer portal, but because of enrollment and timelines, like I think this is the best case scenario. The big thing is taking away all the power from the players, and this still gives them the opportunity to transfer, to take advantage of opportunities. But when you're talking about going into spring ball and guys can leave immediately after spring camp, that was a problem, man. Like we got lucky.
Yes.
That Joey Aguilar fell into our lap. We got lucky. That was not going to be the norm. There weren't just these great quarterbacks floating around. There weren't great wide receivers floating around in the transfer portal after spring. It's always the guys that look at the big picture and say, okay, I see where I'm at on the depth chart. I'm going to transfer down and go find a place to play. So I think I like it. I'm with you. I had not heard that about the coaches getting fired. So you're going to put that problem now on the new coach. You're going to wait till he comes in, then he's going to find out who's leaving, who's bouncing. It's not perfect, but I don't know that there's any way to make this system perfect right now. But doing it in January, definitely a step in the right direction.
I should have pulled it up and got the exact phrasing, but essentially, yeah, it's like instead of like your clock for 30 days as soon as the coach is fired opening, it's like, no, you guys got to wait until a coach is hired and then decide if you want to go.
So what about like look at UCLA and look at I don't know when Oklahoma State. I don't know exactly when that played out. But let's say your coach gets fired in week 3, right? Now you're going to make me sit here and wait. What if the interim's playing me and now I lose my red shirt and I can't transfer until 30 days later or whenever a coach comes in?
I guess technically, no matter what, if you had the option of still redshirting, you still could just do that to yourself. Be like, hey, I'm redshirting into the portal. I can't physically enter right now, but I'm not playing. I'm redshirting. I'm in. I guess you can still do that.
That's a real good look for an NFL interview. I said I wasn't going to play. I wanted to hit the portal.
A lot of those things that you and I think matter, because I think that matters to me. Doesn't matter. I remember. I know you got to go, but I remember when skipping bowl games was just the beginning to start being the norm. And there's Christian McCaffrey, man, and he skipped the bowl game, and I'm just like, man, that's going to follow him around forever, man.
There is some dude on VolQuest to this day hates my guts because I said I don't like it if Jalen, though there's way more than a few, probably more than not. Shout out to all the haters. Shout out to you guys in the comment section. We love you guys. Don't worry. He's going to get rid of me and bring somebody in real soon. He's trying to find somebody. Bottom line is I don't like it. When the talk about Jalen Hyatt sitting out a bowl game or sitting out, whatever. No, finish the season with your teammates. And man, oh man, the hate that I got for saying that. It's like, that's just not the way I want to go out with my teammates. But now you're saying, NFL teams don't really care. It's probably the NFL agents in their ears saying, don't do this. Don't play. There's no reason to play. We know who you are. We know what you can do.
It's without a doubt. It's agent-driven, without a doubt. Yeah, but the NFL front office, they just don't care anymore. But I don't like that because I'm like you. I don't like skipping bowl games. look at Byron Young, right? I mean, he's classic example. Trey Smith, classic example. But to each their own. We got to go. You got to jet. We're 25 minutes in. We'll talk about this in the offseason. Boogie, as always, man, appreciate you. Look forward to catching up and reviewing everything that was Tennessee and Arkansas on Monday before the third Saturday in October coming up next week.
Let's go. I'm going to go run right now and watch the Rocky Top Roundtable, and I'll be in the comment section. See you guys there.
Put on your suit and tie, man. All right, Boogie, we'll talk to you later. Great stuff as always there from Boogie Bentley of the Talking Balls Network. We call it a little locked on Talking Balls here on Friday mornings during football season. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Man, good to see. It will be good to see Tennessee back in Neyland Stadium tomorrow. Really, really looking forward to it. If you see me out and about at the game, come say hello. If you're watching from home, enjoy yourselves. If you're at the game, stay safe. Cannot wait to recap all this late on a Saturday night with you guys right here on the channel and, of course, on a Monday, Locked On Vols. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy your Friday. This is Locked On Vols.